Hey Melody, let's take a look at your week 3, assignment 3 drawing. There are some aspects of this drawing that I think are working out really nicely. The background that you've done, I thought, was done really well. You did a great job of getting the coverage of the marker in place and it feeling very even and consistent. There's very few areas of overlap, and it has a great amount of contrast in it. The gray and the red and the brown of the table work together surprisingly well, but they also do a great job of contrasting with each other, which is, I think, terrific. Also, just color choice in general, seeing some of the reds that are occurring here, we're seeing it being mirrored in the actual table itself, so there is a nice amount of unity going on within the scene. There are some issues for me, though, with the perspective and also with the textural elements that are going on. Perspective, for the main part, is that if we kind of take a look at how things are kind of receding into space, so you have kind of this top part of edge of the table and you have the middle edge of the table, and we can even kind of go in and follow with the bottom kind of edge of the table. So we can see here that they're not moving to the same point. The table on the top part is moving to a point that's here, but if we go to the bottom part, it's not moving in that direction either. And if we follow kind of the table legs are moving to a direction somewhere else as well, and they should be moving to the same vanishing point. So what we should be seeing is the table leg in the back would be much shorter than what it is right now if it's moving towards the same vanishing point. So kind of the bottom of this leg is here, which is fine, but you basically connect that to your vanishing point, and this tells you how kind of low the back leg should be in terms of the perspective. So it's kind of trying to view it as just an entire side to a cube. You can kind of draw this to here and you can draw this to here, and that's the entire side of the cube. And then instead, because it's a table, you're just kind of cutting out a little part of it, but it's not quite aligning right. And then the other issue for me is that you have a series of kind of edges that are moving on the other side to the other vanishing point, but that vanishing point is way up top, and it should be down where the horizon line is. It should be meeting at a point that's on the horizon line. So you need to plot this stuff out. I think that, to me, it feels like a very generalized kind of perspective where it's more eyeballed than it is actually kind of plotted out. I don't feel like there's as much kind of horizon line measuring the edges so that they move to vanishing points, or that there are vanishing points that are consistently being used. But that, for me, really throws things off. Texturally, I think the other issue is that you have this very strong texture on the top, and it doesn't feel like it's working with the perspective either. I feel like as you kind of move kind of back over towards this part of the table, it should be kind of conforming to how the perspective is on the table, and as it moves forward, it's going to be moving probably to how you have it now. But the texture on top just doesn't feel like it lays on the surface convincingly. It feels like the surface is one thing and the texture that's on top of it is another thing, and they're not kind of joining together. And I'm also not sure what the texture is kind of representing. I think if it's a wood texture, it's a little bit too strong. It's standing out a little bit too much because of the marker, and I think you'd be better off working with colored pencil, but in a kind of easier way. I think you could actually even do what you're doing here, but just with a colored pencil. But I think, the last one that we saw, there was just too much colored pencil and not enough marker overall. It just felt like it was colored pencil over top of everything. Here, I feel like we don't really have much colored pencil at all, and you have to have a mixture of the two. The colored pencil is very good at creating kind of detail-oriented stuff and very thin lines, but it's not something that you want to base an entire drawing on like this feels like it is. I think here you've got a great undercoating of marker, which is good, but then the textural stuff just feels a little bit overworked because the marker is so strong. Also, we're missing some things like shading. There's no cast shadow underneath this object. I'm not really sure where the lighting is coming from either, because nothing is shaded in terms of highlight and shadow. So those are a couple of big things that we're missing also.